Long before airplanes crisscrossed the sky and machines rumbled across the ground, there was a time when every storm felt sacred and every cloud held a story. In the heart of the sprawling plains and majestic mountains of an ancient land, the people lived in harmony with the earth and the heavens. They listened to the whispers of the wind, gazed at the stars, and paid attention to the signs sent by the spirits above. Among their most cherished legends was one that flew through the ages, the story of the Thunderbird, a powerful guardian believed to reign over the skies. With wings so vast they could block out the sun and eyes that sparkled like lightning, the Thunderbird summoned thunder with each flap of its wings and rain with every call. It served as both protector and enforcer, keeping a watchful eye from the clouds on those who respected, or disrupted, the delicate balance of nature. When drought struck and the people began to worry they had lost their connection to the great cycle, a quest was set in motion. One courageous individual would embark on a journey to find the Thunderbird and uncover the truth behind the silence that had settled in the skies. Chapter 1: The Whispering Winds. That morning, the wind arrived early, sweeping through the village with a sense of urgency that rustled the leaves, rattled the tents, and brought with it an eerie, mournful sound. The elders paused in their morning prayers, while the children halted their games, straining to listen to the horizon. Something ancient danced with the breeze, a voice too old to be heard by mere ears, yet deeply felt in the very bones. Among those who sensed it most vividly was a young hunter named Tahu. He stood at the village's edge, watching the sky transition from a gentle pink to a heavy, ominous gray. The air felt thick, as if it were holding its breath. Tahu's grandmother, Wiaka, a respected storyteller and guardian of memories, beckoned him closer. Her eyes, clouded with age, still sparkled with wisdom. "You feel it too," she murmured. "The wind brings warnings. The Thunderbird stirs." Tahu nodded, though he struggled to grasp the depth of what he felt. His dreams had been filled with storms, lightning that split the earth, wings that obscured the stars, and a cry so powerful it seemed to tear the sky apart. "The balance has been disrupted," Wiaka whispered. "When the land forgets to honor the sky forgets to bless the land." That night, the winds intensified. The council convened in silence, smoke curling from their fires as they recalled ancient songs and stories. Everyone agreed, the signs were re-emerging. The Thunderbird, the guardian of the heavens, was restless. A time of reckoning was approaching. Chapter 2: The Drought of the Earth. Weeks slipped by, and the winds that once whispered now howled and then fell silent, leaving the village wrapped in an unsettling stillness. The skies stubbornly remained clear, refusing to show even a single cloud. Each day, the sun blazed hotter, turning the soil into a patchwork of cracks and transforming streams into parched beds of dust. The once lush plains faded into a brittle brown. Birds ventured farther in search of water, and the deer no longer dared to approach the valley. The elders recalled tales of such desolation, of times when the Thunderbird had turned its back on the people. Tahu watched as his family carefully rationed their water, his younger sister crying from thirst, her tears the only moisture they had for days. The hunters returned with empty hands more often than not, and the medicine women began to use their sacred herbs with increasing caution. Each evening, Wiaka addressed the people, sharing the legend of the Thunderbird. She reminded them that rain was more than just water, it was a precious gift that came only when there was harmony between the earth and the sky. "We have forgotten the songs," she lamented. "We have taken without giving thanks." In response, the villagers began leaving small offerings at the edge of the forest, woven beads, feathers, dried berries, but the skies remained unresponsive. Even the drums sounded hollow as they called out to the clouds. One evening, as the sun sank below the hills and dust swirled like ghosts above the fields, Tahu found himself standing alone. He gazed up at the sky, his fists clenched and his heart weighed down. Somewhere, high above the silence, the Thunderbird lingered, waiting. Chapter 3: The Sacred Journey. Tahu woke up before the first light kissed the sky, driven by dreams that felt too real to brush aside. In those dreams, he found himself on a towering peak, clouds swirling around him, while a massive shadow circled overhead. Wiyaka's voice echoed in his mind, "When the land forgets, someone must remember." He packed only the essentials, his bow, a pouch of dried meat, a water gourd, and a carved feather from his grandmother's medicine bundle. The journey ahead wouldn't just be about walking on solid ground, it would be a path woven with spirit and wind. As he stepped beyond the village's edge, a quiet fell behind him. Even the birds held their songs. The forest welcomed him with a profound silence. The trees stood like vigilant guardians, and the underbrush seemed to part, acknowledging his purpose. Tahu moved forward, his feet guided more by instinct than by any clear direction. He followed the dry riverbed until it curved toward the hills, where sacred ground was said to begin. Each night, the stars shone brighter, as if they were keeping watch. He built small fires and offered thanks with every meal. Animals made fleeting appearances, a fox peering from the brush, an eagle soaring high above. These weren't mere coincidences, they were signs, reminders that the spirits were walking alongside him. On the fourth day, clouds finally gathered after weeks of clear skies, but no rain fell. Instead, a single bolt of lightning struck the peak of a distant mountain. Tahu stared at it, his heart racing. That was the place. The mountain of storms awaited him, and the Thunderbird was calling him to move forward. Chapter 4, The Mountain of Storms. The climb was steep and unyielding, with the air growing colder and thinner with every step. Tahu's muscles screamed in protest, but he pushed on, spurred by the distant rumble of thunder. The mountain felt alive, its jagged peaks slicing through the darkening sky like the teeth of a slumbering giant. When he reached a narrow ledge, fierce winds whipped at his clothes, threatening to send him tumbling back. Lightning flashed, momentarily illuminating the path ahead and casting eerie shadows on the rocks. This was no ordinary mountain, it was a realm of power and challenge. Tahu knelt to catch his breath, then rose to confront the first test. A voice, deep and resonant like the earth itself, challenged him to demonstrate his strength. He drew his bow and released an arrow into the storm, watching as it disappeared into the swirling clouds. A roar echoed in response, shaking the ground beneath him. Ascending higher, the second test loomed. One of wisdom. The sky darkened, and heavy rain began to fall, cold and relentless. Tahu sought refuge beneath a rocky overhang, where ancient symbols were carved into the stone. He traced them with trembling fingers, recalling the teachings of the elders. To endure, he needed to grasp the delicate balance between giving and receiving, between earth and sky. The final trial was one of spirit. Alone in the heart of the storm, Tahu closed his eyes and listened, not with his ears, but with his very soul. The thunder shared its secrets, and he responded with a prayer of respect and humility. The mountain shuddered, then fell into silence. At the summit, the clouds parted, revealing a sky bursting with light. The Thunderbird awaited. Chapter 5, The Winged Guardian Appears. Thunder rumbled ominously across the sky as Tahu stood at the mountain's peak, his heart racing with a mix of fear and wonder. Suddenly, the clouds above began to twist and crackle with energy. From the swirling mist, a colossal figure emerged, its wings spread wide enough to cast a shadow over the earth, feathers shimmering like storm clouds, edged with flashes of lightning. The Thunderbird had arrived. Its eyes blazed with intensity, fierce as lightning strikes, yet they held a depth of wisdom that spoke of ancient skies and timelessness. Each powerful beat of its wings sent thunder reverberating through the mountains, loosening stones and stirring the air into wild currents. The very sky felt alive with its might. Tahu dropped to his knees, humbled in the presence of this mighty guardian. The Thunderbird's voice resonated not in words but in the booming thunder, conveying a message directly to his spirit. It was both a warning and a plea. The delicate balance between earth and sky was at risk, and humanity had strayed from the sacred promises made long ago. The Thunderbird circled once more, its wings slicing through the clouds as gentle, cleansing rain began to fall. It lowered its magnificent head toward Tahu, recognizing his bravery and willingness to listen. In that moment, the hunter grasped the gravity of his mission. This was not just a meeting of man and spirit, it was a sacred bond to be cherished, a commitment to restore harmony before the world could begin to heal. Chapter 6, A Skybound Pact. As the gentle rain fell around them, Tahu found himself standing before the majestic Thunderbird, feeling the weight of the sky's guardian. The great bird's booming voice resonated not with fury, but with a deep sadness. It spoke of a time when humans and spirits coexisted in harmony, honoring nature's cycles with respect and gratitude. But the songs have faded, the Thunderbird seemed to lament. The balance has been lost. The earth is parched, and the skies have fallen silent. Tahu listened closely, realizing this wasn't a punishment but a heartfelt plea for renewal. The Thunderbird stretched out one powerful wing, and from its feathers, a single glowing feather drifted down, a symbol of trust and responsibility. "You must take this to your people," the spirit's message echoed in his heart. "Teach them to remember. To give as they take. Only then will the rains return, and the earth will flourish once more." Tahu bowed deeply, feeling the weight of the pact settle upon him. He vowed to revive the old ways, to guide his people in honoring the sky and earth as one. As the storm subsided, the clouds parted to unveil stars shining brighter than ever. The Thunderbird soared into the night, a guardian watching over them, while Tahu began his journey back, his spirit filled with renewed purpose and hope. Chapter 7, Return to the People. The journey back home felt like an eternity, but Tahu's heart was buoyed by hope. Each step seemed to be guided by the spirit of the Thunderbird and the promise he now held close. As he finally made his way down into the valley, he noticed the village was still, the ground parched and cracked. Yet, deep down, Tahu sensed that change was on the horizon. He gathered the villagers around the fire and unveiled the glowing feather, a symbol of the pact forged high on the mountain. With a steady voice, he shared the tale of his journey and the wisdom of the great guardian. The elders nodded in recognition, recalling the ancient songs and rituals that had faded from memory. Together, they set to work preparing for renewal. The drums began to beat again, summoning the spirits of the sky and earth. Careful offerings were made, fresh berries, feathers, and heartfelt prayers. Children tilted their faces toward the sky, yearning for a sign. Gradually, the winds began to change. Dark, heavy clouds gathered, promising the long-awaited rain. When the first drops finally fell, laughter erupted among the people like a joyful wave. The land soaked it up eagerly, animals returned, and the rivers started to flow once more. Tahu gazed up at the sky with a heart full of gratitude, knowing this was just the beginning. The balance had been restored, but it would need ongoing care and respect. The gift of the Thunderbird served as a reminder: harmony is a living connection between all things. Chapter 8, The Legacy of Thunder. As the seasons shifted, the village blossomed once again, alive with energy and optimism. The rains returned in their regular rhythm, filling the rivers and nurturing the earth. Tahu emerged as a leader among his people, guiding them to respect the sacred balance between the earth and the sky. The radiant feather he carried found its home in the council's sacred lodge, serving as a constant reminder of their bond with the Thunderbird. Tales of the magnificent winged guardian spread far beyond the valley, carried by travelers and the whispers of the wind. Children grew up enchanted by the story, learning the songs and rituals that kept their harmony intact. The elders beamed with pride as the community's respect for nature deepened, helping them navigate both joyful and challenging times. Tahu often ascended the mountain to gaze at the skies, feeling the Thunderbird's presence in every rumble of thunder and flash of lightning. The connection between humanity and spirit was revitalized, a living thread that spanned generations. In the stillness between storms, the villagers murmured their gratitude, aware that the Thunderbird was always watching over them, ready to protect and remind them of the sacred trust they held with the sky above. The story of the Thunderbird goes beyond mere legend. It serves as a poignant reminder of the fragile balance that links all living beings, the earth, the sky, and those who traverse the space in between. When this balance is disrupted, the world feels the impact, but through respect, bravery, and a genuine willingness to listen, that harmony can be mended. Tahu's journey teaches us that each generation has the duty to cherish the gifts of nature and the ancient connections that unite us. The mighty wings of the Thunderbird continue to soar overhead, watching over the land as a powerful emblem of protection and renewal. As long as we keep singing the songs and honoring the sacred promises, the rains will come back, the earth will thrive, and the spirit of the sky will always guide and safeguard those who remember.